Okay, former Massey Energy Coal Company official. His name is David Hugert. Who is David Hugert?
Mr. Hugert was a president of a mine resource group, and what that means is that he was the president of a group of mines, not just one, but a number of mines, and he led that group of mines for a number of years. The Green Valley Resource Group was located in Levacy, there in Nicholas County, and he led those operations for a number of years.
Now, this is called an information, which means he's agreed to plead guilty and cooperate. He's going to plead guilty to a felony count of conspiracy to defraud the United States and a misdemeanor charge of conspiracy. But in non-legal terms, what did he do?
Well, there are two counts of conspiracy, as you mentioned. The first count relates to impeding MSHA in their function of keeping mines safe, and specifically what the charges relate to is advance warnings of mine inspection activity, a conspiracy to give advance warnings and make sure that those warnings were given. The second count relates to a conspiracy to violate mine safety and health standards. Most of those mine safety and health standards, the violation thereof, are misdemeanors, which means that they're punishable by less than a year in jail. The only ones other than that are felonies are lying about those sorts of violations.
And you're talking about those violations at the mines operated by Hugert. You're talking about, I think, ventilation issues, excessive coal dust, not having the place rock dusted down to keep the dust down, those kinds of things?
Absolutely, Hoppy. You got it. You're on top of it.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's ventilation controls, rock dusting, roof support, curtains in place to direct the airflow, not only to sweep out dangerous methane gas, but also to prevent black lung disease.
U.S. Attorney Booth Goodwin is with us, and we're talking about charges against a third individual as a result of the ongoing UBB investigation. And what is the connection? And I've said as a result of investigation, but David Hugert, the defendant here, the mines that he operated, he did not operate UBB. His mines were not directly connected, but he was a part of the Massey operation. So what is the connection between UBB and Hugert, or is it just a result of the investigation?
It's as a result of the investigation. As I mentioned to you before, we took a broader view when we came into this investigation. We wanted to see what was going on and the conduct of individuals in Massey operations that could have permitted this to occur. But more importantly, our goal is to make sure that something like this never happens again. So necessarily, it had to be broader than previous investigations. I mean, and that's what we've done, and these charges result from that strategy.
Booth, the investigation into UBB found, among other things, that safety, that production was put ahead of safety, that there was excessive coal dust that fueled a massive explosion, that there were warnings given to the mine when inspectors arrived on the scene. Now, in your investigation of Hugert's operations, you found very similar circumstances. Are you, in your investigation, establishing a pattern of willful violation of safety rules and regulations at Massey operations, plural, at Massey operations?
Well, you can see from the charges themselves that this was a conspiracy that related not just to Green Valley operations, but other coal operations. Obviously, it is of great concern to us that these sorts of this sort of conduct occurred elsewhere in the Massey structure, and we're going to get to the bottom of it.
Booth Goodwin is with us, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of West Virginia. In the information, it says, which you can read online, our story's posted at wvmetronews.com. You can read the information for yourself. It's pretty straightforward. It goes about 12 or 13 pages. According to federal documents, Hugert operated Massey Energy subsidiary mines in Nicholas County that routinely violated health and safety laws, quote, because of a belief that consistently following those laws would decrease coal production. I think that's a significant part, suggesting that this official, and I think you're suggesting it's possible, based on your investigation, that others within Massey operations did put production ahead, did knowingly put production ahead of safety, and in doing so put miners at risk. Is that too broad, or is that correct?
Well, obviously, that's conduct that would be of significant concern to us, and it's obvious that these charges relate to that at these operations. It's too early to say, and I'm not really going to go as far as say that it was widespread or that we've found it at other operations. But obviously, that is conduct that is of significant concern to us, especially when we're trying to make sure that something like this never happens again.
Hugert is cooperating?
Yes, he is.
Hugert is, in terms of the three people that have been charged so far, I talked about Gary May, former mine superintendent of UBB, and who I believe pleaded guilty, Huey Elbert Stover, who was convicted of charges stemming from disaster. He was head of security there at UBB, so that's two. This is the third person. As a result of the investigation, where does Hugert fit in terms of the three?
Well, he is the highest-ranking former Massey official that has been charged arising out of this probe. As I mentioned, he was the president of a group of mines, whereas, to put it in perspective, Mr. May was a superintendent at an individual mine. So he was one of 20 or so Massey Resource Group presidents and served in that capacity for a number of years.
I think 2000 to 2010, I think, is the maybe longer.
I believe he served even longer than going back to 2000, but that is obviously, it says at least 2000 through 2010.
But here's a structural question. Did David Hugert, did he work directly for former Massey CEO Don Blankenship?
Well, obviously as a resource group president, he was in significant contact with the upper-level officials there within Massey Energy, if not on a daily, but possibly hourly basis. As to the structure and the reporting, I really can't go into that. And it's quite possible that the lines of reporting changed over those periods. So it's fair to say that he was a very high-level executive within Massey Energy Company, one of only 20 or so Massey Mine Group presidents. So he was a significant player. Yes.
Booth, is it reasonable to believe that? Do you feel like you're on the witness stand, by the way? When I is it reasonable to believe that David Hugert, according to the information where he admits to willful violation of safety rules, essentially putting production before safety, of having a system to alert the mine when inspectors were on the scene, is it reasonable to assume that Hugert was acting strictly on his own, or did he have a directive from higher-ups of Massey to conduct his business in that way?
Well, from the very face of the information, it's clear that he wasn't acting alone. The very nature of a conspiracy is that he acted in concert with other individuals, not just at Green Valley, but at other coal operations in Massey Energy. So, by their very nature, these charges indicate that he was not acting alone.
Are you targeting or trying to reach former Massey CEO Don Blankenship?
We're going to take the investigation wherever it leads, Hoppy. I mean, what we want to do is get at the truth. Again, what we want to do is make sure that something like this never happens again. And we believe that our strategy has yielded very positive dividends so far, and very likely will yield yet additional positive dividends.
So you believe that others within Massey, former Massey company, now owned by Alpha, that others will in fact be charged?
I'm not prepared to say that at this point, but it is fair to say that our investigation is moving forward, that we are not complete, and we have twin aims of holding accountable any individual who was responsible for this disaster, and again, making sure that it never happens again.
Finally, is there anything else you want to add, or is there any context you want to provide to the charges against Hugert or the information he's providing or this ongoing investigation? Because my question's been very specific. Is there anything broadly that you want to add or draw attention to?
Well, I think that, my hope is that, we're sending a very clear message. I mean, miners deserve a safe place to earn a living. But unfortunately, some mine officials seem to believe that health and safety laws are optional. And really, as you know, that attitude has no place in the mining industry or any industry. And hopefully these charges today reinforce that urgent message.
Booth Goodwin, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of West Virginia, on the ongoing UBB probe and an information charges now against a third individual in connection with that ongoing investigation. Booth, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.